up, guys? It's your boy, Barça Boy 103. Today we're going to be reacting to the Barcelona news over the past few days. We do have some big topics to discuss. Firstly, in regards to Nico Williams, the club is still very keen on signing the player in the future. They may go back in for him this summer, especially if he's at the same price. And we also have an update from his agent on why he decided to stay at Athletic Club as well. We have some options in the pivot as well, being linked with a German and also a Dutch pivot that could be options for Barcelona in the future. We of course also have updates around Fermin Lopez and how Barcelona rejected two big approaches from Premier League clubs for Fermin the past summer. Some big injury updates around the club as well, revolving Dani Olmo. Big blow there, but some positive news about Frenkie de Jong, Ansu, Fati as well. And finally, we'll be covering two very big interviews that were conducted for Barcelona's perspective. One is Andy Bara, who is an agent very close to Laporta, the agent of Dani Olmo and meCarreira, gave us some big insights, and also another big interview from Deco, giving us updates from the previous summer and the future of the team as well. But before we get into it, make sure you guys smash that like button down below. Let's try to get the 200 likes in this video. Be very much appreciated. Also, if you're new, make sure you subscribe down below if you haven't already, and let's get into it. Now, before we get into this video is sponsored by meCarreira. meCarreira is a platform where you can invest in football players by buying shares in them, similar to buying stocks in the financial market. This means you can buy and sell shares in players you believe had the potential to increase in value. Now, the value of the player's shares go up and down depending on how many people want to buy or sell those shares, not based on their performances in matches. meCarreira also has other key features as well, like real-time market, player trading, seasonal events like for the World Cup, Euros, and Copa America, and community voting as well, where you can vote on the next player's stocks to be joined on the market. Now, have you ever been sure that a footballer will become successful? Well, now is your time to put your money where your mouth is and invest in players to prove to everyone that you have the ball knowledge that's needed in football. So what are you waiting for? Hit the top link in the description down below and check out meCarreira and invest your stocks in certain players today. Let's start off with the transfer news over the past few days. Now, the first update we do have is on Barcelona's continuous search in the market for a pivot, and the free agent of Kimmich is still being mentioned in the media. Mundo Deportivo have come out saying that Kimmich is being targeted by Barcelona for a free transfer as he nears the end of his current deal with Bayern Munich. Again, what we're hearing right now in Germany is that with Kimmich, it's not 100% definitive whether or not he'll leave Bayern on a free or not. There still might be some hopes over a renewal. There might be some discussions as we hit Christmas time. If there aren't by then, by the time January hits, of course Barcelona can sweep in legally and speak to Kimmich freely, since of course we are a club outside of Germany. So keep your eyes on that and see if that develops. Again, we've been following Kimmich now for almost 2 years, and now is the big opportunity that we've been always been talking about. Oh, when he's free, it'll make sense. Oh, 50 million, oh, 40 million. When he's free, it makes more sense, and now we are reaching that point. So I do expect the interest to gradually increase as he becomes closer and closer to being an official free agent. But there is another name as well that has emerged over the recent days, and that is Jerdy Schouten of PSV Eindhoven. There are reports coming in from the Dutch media saying that Barcelona want to sign Jerdy Schouten in one of the upcoming transfer windows. The PSV player is high on their list, and before this report came out from a reliable source in the Dutch media, Luis Rojo of Marca also mentioned that Barcelona have set their sights on PSV midfielder Jerdy Schouten, age 27, to strengthen their midfield. Although there were talks during their previous transfer window, a deal couldn't materialize due to Barcelona's financial fair play FFP issues. So a name that we talked about briefly, I think just before the summer transfer window hit, not a lot. I don't think we talked about him once in the summer, but we did mention about him previously. He's an alright midfielder. Again, the price is going to be around 25 million euros, very similar to what we were, talking about with Mats Pfeiffer a year ago. Now, of course, he made that move to Brighton Hove Albion in the Premier League. At this point, honestly, I'd rather just trust in what we have. Again, with Jerdy Schouten, he's, coming into this prime. I'd rather get Kimmich on a free, who's a year older. There's other, I think, better options out there. And to be honest, he's not going to be that top midfielder. He'll come in probably just to be a sturdy option, I would say. at that point, I'd rather trust in the academy and see what we have. Of course, I'm talking about, Marc Bernal, Marc Casado, those kind of players to get that trust and to get that experience from what we currently have and what we currently bred in our academy. Going and spending 25-30 million on like a alright midfielder that's entering his prime that maybe has a little bit of room to grow but not much, it's not something that absolutely wows me. Of course, the signing's not supposed to wow you per se, but I'm saying that I honestly don't think, if I'm being honest, it's a drastic improvement that we do need. Again, I've been very consistent about this over the past year. We need a top class pivot. If we're gonna go to the market and buy one, he needs to be top class. And Jerdy Schouten is not that. Jerdy Schouten is just, a good, reliable player that has maybe a bit more room to grow. He is playing a bit more now with the Dutch national team under, of course, Ronald Koeman. So, I mean, we'll see how things develop. We'll see how the market develops. See how, Bernal's recovery goes with this ACL. See how Marc Casado grows during this season as well. And this can be something that we can readdress again in the summer. But for now, Barcelona are keeping track of the pivot market in case they do decide to delve in and sign a player. Now, a player in which Barcelona were tracking a lot and following the entirety of last summer was, of course, Nico Williams. We do have some more clarity on that failed move and also the fact that Barcelona are still interested in him. We talked about how Materialize came out saying this about a week ago, and now Fabrizio Romano is also confirming the fact that Barcelona are still very interested in Nico Williams. Again, if his price is the same, we will be interested. I've been saying this a lot over the past few months. I said it in that first week after the Euro finals when he was supposed to be making that decision. I said, look, if he decides to stay and his release clause stays the same until next summer, I think we'll be back in for him. And of course, your boy, 99% of the time, is spot on. Now, his agent actually spoke to Mundo Deportivo about the failed move this summer, and he came out saying that in the end, Nico Williams himself decided to continue playing at Athletic Club. He wanted to continue playing for another year. We are here to work, support him in all his decisions, and advise him logically, but he decided to stay. When a player and his family want to stay at a club, they do, and when they don't want to, they leave. As a representative, I cannot put a gun to his head to force him to leave the club. Each person and each player decides where they want to be. So in the end, it was decided by him. Let's hope now that Athletic Club absolutely flop in the Europa League and don't play in the final at the MLS. If they do play in that final, they're 1 trillion% winning it. I don't care who they face. They're definitely winning that game. But let's hope they flop because, I love playing for other people's downfall. We'll hope that we have the best season ever, that he regrets it beyond belief. And, of course, will give us more leverage in the summer as well if we do want him still and if he still also wants to move as well. But for now, it's quite clear that Barcelona still remain interested in him. We're seeing Barcelona players always on his IG post bantering with him and doing silly emojis and stuff like that. So the connection is still always there, so we'll wait and see how things do develop in the next few months. If we even decide to go for left winger, of course, Rafinha is playing well. Lamine Yamal's got the right hand side on lock. We'll see how the likes of Dani Olmo plays. If Ferran Torres does anything, mainly I think the one that could potentially stop Nico Williams joining is Ansu Fati. If he comes in, performs, and we see the Ansu that we saw, of course, from the 2019, 2020, then you could maybe say Nico is cooked. So we'll wait and see how things do turn out. But again, the interest in Nico Williams is still very strong from Barcelona's side. Let's now discuss the players that have been rumored to leave Barcelona over the past few days. A player that has been attracting a lot of interest this past summer and where Barcelona had to feed off the injuries and reject all approaches made is for Fermin Lopez. Now, Miguel Rico, who I believe now does not write for Sport anymore, he writes for Relevo. He's always been, an alright, a reliable source. He's come out saying that Tottenham Hotspur showed a lot of interest in Fermin Lopez in the past summer, but Barcelona closed the exit door for him. The club considers him a future player for the club. And following this, Mateo Morito came out confirming this as well, saying that not only Tottenham but also Manchester United showed interest in Barcelona's midfielder Fermin Lopez after his impressive summer, winning the Euros, and of course helping Spain win the Olympic gold medal. Neither Fermin Lopez or Barcelona entertained a move whatsoever. Fermin wants to stay at Barcelona, and the club is working on a contract renewal, seeing him as a key part of their future. We have not seen Fermin play for Barcelona in quite some time. Of course, he came on against was it against Vallecano or was it Athletic Club? I remember him wearing the home kit, as you can see there on the right hand side. Came on for a bit and then of course got that knock in training. So was it in training or was it with the Spanish national team with the under 21s? I forget, but we haven't seen too much of him this season. Of course, now with other injuries happening, he'll have hopefully now a big resurgence, and I'm excited to see him back playing for Barcelona because we know, of course, the quality that Fermin Lopez does possess. But again, there were a lot of interest for him this summer, but Barcelona and Fermin made it clear that they want to continue together for the foreseeable future. Let's now discuss some contract renewal updates around the first team at Barcelona. The first update we do have is on the contract renewal of Pedri, of course, one of the 5 big players that is desperate for a renewal. Fernando Polo Mundo Deportivo came out saying that negotiations to renew Pedri's contract are now underway. There's still a long way to go, but the will of both parties is to stay together for many more years. Pedri is one of the faces of the club. So the club are going to renew him. He's going to stay. It's going to be happy. It's going to be all sunshine and rainbows, all willy-nilly. Just got to crunch the numbers at this point. That's pretty much now what it's going to be coming down to. I've been very consistent on this, and I will say this again right now, even though Pedri's had an absolutely brilliant start to the season. I would not give him more money. The guy is beyond injury prone. If you give him more money, okay, let's say for example right now he earns 100,000 euros a week. I would say to Pedri, look, we'll increase your wage to 150 because you're definitely worth it when you play. But once you're injured, you get knocked back down to 100k because you're just injury prone, lad. I love you. We want to continue together. We want to have success in life, but you cannot stay fit to save your life. Of course, maybe under Hansi Flick and his muscle and his physical preparation, it could be different. I don't know. We have about 9 injuries right now. Anyways, I think Barcelona is always consistent with injuries ever since the footballing schedule became intense. I would say around 2018, 2019, we've always had injuries. Always, no matter what. We're bringing Julio Toulouse or this guy down the block or that freaking athlete from Romania. It does not matter. We're always having injury issues. So he's of course one of the unfortunate culprits due to the fact that we rinsed him in that first season where he played 75 games for Spain at the Euros, Spain at the Olympics, and for Barcelona that season. So that's my only personal quirk with Pedri's renewal. I would not increase his salary. If you want to maybe increase bonuses and variables, have a crack by all means, but his fixed salary I would not touch personally. But we'll wait and see what the club do decide. I think the club will probably give him a pay increase. Again, like I mentioned, he's one of the faces of the club, so he's going to be getting his money for sure. So we'll wait and see how things do turn out. But again, everyone very positive on the fact that Pedri will commit his future to Barcelona. And the final contract renewal update is on the contract renewal of Gerard Martin. Again, Gigantes have come out saying that Barcelona continue to work on the contract renewal of Gerard Martin. Initial meeting was held with his agent with good reports. The club considers him to be Boldly's, of course, backup. Hansi Flick and the sports sector are happy with his attitude, and his contract ends at the end of this season. So that's why the club don't want to renew him, just to get some longevity out of him. I understand that. I wouldn't give him more than a 3-year renewal, maybe a 2+1, 3+1. Again, I have not been moved by him whatsoever. I've now watched him now for 4 months. He's not wowed me whatsoever. Did not even wow me last season with Barça Athletic as well under Rafa Marquez. I think he's a very mediocre player, but if Hansi Flick sees something in him to the point where he bent Alex Valle to Celtic. So there's got to be something there, and we'll wait and see whether or not we see it or not this season. But again, the club are going to be continuing to renew his contract to, of course, retain his value. Once you become a Barcelona player, the interest and the attraction of you just increase, beyond belief. So at least if we renew his contract, we have some sort of, sell-on value, something to, give up if you do want to get rid of him, sell-on clause, percent of a future sale, maybe even some money as well. So we'll wait and see how things do turn out. But again, the club are working on Gerard Martin's renewal, with his contract, of course, expiring this summer in 2025. Let's now discuss some of the injury updates around the first team at Barcelona. I mean, I've just had enough of this crap. Can I just not apply like a fitness card on these players and they just cannot get injured? Anyways, let's talk about the first update we do have. It is on Dani Olmo. Now, he did go off in the game the other day against Girona, injured. We saw him walk out of the stadium giving thumbs up. He's all right. He's posted on IG. Oh yeah, we're back. We played well. See y'all the next game. Whoop-de freaking do. Had the cut on his nose during the game as well, which I kind of thought was the initial injury, but it wasn't. He came off, and there were reports that came out before he did his medical test that he'll be out for about a week, just a little bit of a, bigger knock than usual. Miguel came out saying that he could probably be out for around 7 to 10 days. Now, this is, of course, before all the tests the next day at the Ciudad Deportiva Joan Gamper. The following day, of course, yesterday in the morning, he went to have his test. Out for 4 to 5 weeks. I cannot with this, man. Listen. This is what you signed up with. We knew about Dani Olmo. We knew how much of an injury-prone player he was. We talked about how we did not need the player and that he was injury-prone all summer. We signed him. He's played well. This is the baggage that you get with Dani Olmo, so expect a lot of this in the future. He is an injury-prone player. He's basically a Pedri on crack. The club did release a timeline, which again is, I think, a positive sign to show that, look, it's a very routine, regular knock and regular injury where there's a timeline, which is very, very important. So Dani Olmo will be out for around 4 to 5 weeks, which means that he'll miss basically all the games now, and he will probably be back after the international break. I believe we play against Sevilla, and then we have Bayern Munich, then we have Santiago Bernabeu against Real Madrid. So the club want him fully fit, ready to go post-international break. And Tony Marti came out saying the Olmo's injury is minor, but Barcelona does not want to take any risk considering Dani Olmo's recent history with injuries and with the Bayern Munich and Real Madrid game coming up at the end of next month. That's why he will not join the Spain squad during the next international break, as he would be cutting it close. He will be ready for the Sevilla match following the break. So in the end, he's going to miss Monaco, Villarreal, Getafe, Young Boys, Osasuna. Nothing outrageous, but again, it does suck when you have momentum, when you're playing well. The stars are aligning, the lights are on you, and he gets this. And again, like I mentioned before I read the Tony Marti report, the positive thing here is that Barcelona did put a timeline. Barcelona never put a timeline. They always say he's out, his recovery will determine his availability. That's the typical line. I have it memorized. But for Bernal, they say he'll be out for 12 months. So again, that's pretty standard, routine stuff. And here as well, 4 to 5 weeks. I think that's, of course, a positive sign. So Olmo, out for 4 to 5 weeks. We'll not see him until after the next international break, the October international break. So he should be back in about a month. So it's not, too serious. It's not crazy. Something routine. But again, it's what you get with Dani Olmo. But some negative news, we do have some big positive news as well. Firstly, in regards to Frenkie de Jong, who did take part in yesterday's team training session, took part in a little bit of it, very similar to what Gavi did. This was confirmed by Alex Pentel from Relevo and Victor Novato from Cope as well, and then everyone else came out confirming it as well. Now, following de Jong participating in some of the first team training sessions yesterday, Javi Miguel from AES came out saying that Frenkie de Jong is expected to be in the squad list for the match against Getafe, which of course is next Wednesday, so about a week from tomorrow. And Fran Corras also confirmed this as well, saying there are sensations that Frenkie de Jong will get the medical green light next week. So he will not play, of course, this Thursday against Monaco, will not play on the weekend against Villarreal, but the Wednesday game against Getafe is set for him. This, of course, is fantastic news following the fact that we had absolutely no idea when he was coming back, but now he's taking part in the first team training session. Hopefully by the time the Monaco game ends, he'll be taking part in the full training sessions. He'll get the full training sessions for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday's a game, Monday, Tuesday. That's, of course, 5 sessions right there. Hopefully he'll be good to go for that midweek game against Getafe. Then, of course, build fitness, go out with the Dutch national team on international duty, get sharpness and rhythm up to max, come back to Barcelona, Sevilla, Madrid, Bayern Munich. Hopefully by then we are cooking. So some positive news there. More positive news with Fermin Lopez, who's now going to be playing a lot more minutes now with Dani Olmo being injured. And Mundo Deportivo came out saying that it's not totally ruled out that Fermin Lopez could be in the squad list for this Thursday against Monaco. If not, worst case scenario, he'll be back this weekend in the squad list against Villarreal. He is evolving very well. So at some point this week, Fermin Lopez will be back, which of course is fantastic news following this injury with Dani Olmo. He is basically the like-for-like replacement, unless you want to move Pedri up and then have Casado and Eric sitting deep. I'll talk about, that later on in the week, what we can do to, replace Dani Olmo's injury in that 10th position. There's so many options that Hansi Flick has at his disposal, but Fermin Lopez definitely one of those top contenders. So having that option there, having that player there is, of course, fantastic news. So maybe on Thursday, if not Thursday, Sunday. Finally, the last exciting news is around Ansu Fati, who is expected to be returning this Thursday against Monaco. And Candace have come out saying that the player who has impressed Hansi Flick the most in training sessions since he arrived at Barcelona has been Ansu Fati. Now, the glazing here is outrageous. I will say that. But look, the excitement is there. Again, I've sold my stocks on Ansu Fati, so if he performs well, great. I'll be there cheering him on. If he does not, it will not bother me because I've sold my stocks on meCarreira. Make sure you check out meCarreira and buy your stocks on Ansu Fati if you want to go buy your stocks there. But I've passed on him. So if he comes back, does well, great. If not, we have to bid him. He's on 150k a week. So either he performs well and he's a good asset to the squad, or he gets done. He gets moved on. So we'll wait and see with that and Ansu's return, but it will hopefully be this Thursday. He won't start the game, of course. Maybe he comes on, gets 5, 7, 10 minutes. That would be really good. Maybe against Villarreal a weekend, get 15, maybe half an hour or something like that. So good to have Ansu returning. If he gets injured again in the next week, oh my god, I'm gonna make a whole entire video just for himself, slating the hell out of him. Now, final injury fitness update is gonna be around Pedri. Now, this report came in from Fernando Polo from Deportivo, and he came out saying that in response to Pedri looking for a solution to his injury problems, Laporta and Deco contacted Junio Toulouse and asked him to create a physical plan for Pedri. With the coordination of the medical staff and with Pedri's full cooperation, they decided to conduct a thorough muscular analysis to better understand Pedri's muscle fibers and create a personalized training routine that would help him prevent injuries and improve his physical performance. A biopsy was performed with samples sent to a top laboratory specializing in genetical muscular disorder in Baltimore, USA, where I believe we did play against AC Milan, with the goal to understand Pedri's muscle structure and how to develop and how to best manage to improve and prevent injuries. The study concluded that Pedri would benefit from doing daily strength exercises. With the help of Julio Toulouse, recovering coach Raul Martinez, and with Pedri's full commitment as well, Barcelona implemented a physical plan for him. In addition to this work at the club, Pedri again doing 3 exercise sessions at home where a gym was set up for him. I swear to God, I read this like a year ago. Remember when we went? Remember that? What was it? Is at the end of the double season, when we at the 2022-2023 season, he was at his home. Oh, Pedri put a gym in. He's training. He's getting muscle. Look how big he is. Look how jacked he is. Got injured a month later. I don't believe this whatsoever. I mean, maybe this is a reality. Probably, since it is being reported, Fernando Polo is very, 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 very close to Barcelona. But once I see it, I ain't gonna believe it. I can go back and find a clip of me reading this exact same thing about Pedri. He set up a gym in his own house. I remember the pictures of him and his brother in the pool. Oh, Pedri's looking so big. Oh my God, look at the muscles on him. Finally, no more injuries, blah, blah, blah. Got injured in the first freaking month of the season. Of course, last season we had under Xavi, the 23-24 season. So, until I see it in the flesh, until I see Pedri being fit for 2 or 3 months straight, then I'll believe it. Until then, he is still as injury prone as you can get, in my opinion. But let's hope that this study does, of course, improve something with Pedri, just to have him at least be fit for 80% of the season. That's all I ask for. 80%. You can have one month injury, I'll let that slide, but just at least be fit for like 80 to 85% of the season. Then I'll admit there has been some drastic improvement. Let's now discuss some of the news surrounding Barcelona over the past few days. Firstly, there is a report coming in from Marca about how much Hansi Flick loves the Fernandez Cousins. Marca came out saying that Hansi Flick is constantly monitoring Gilly, of course Guillermo, and Tony Fernandez, the cousins at La Masia. They're the 2 brightest prospects right now at the club. Of course, Gilly was in the squad list for Girona. Tony scored the 1 goal in the Barça Athletics loss over the past weekend against Unionistas. I believe the team that we played, of course, in the Copa del Rey last season. He scored a fantastic goal. I believe it was on like the volley, if I'm not mistaken. So you're talking about injuries to Dani Olmo and Fermin Lopez. These 2 players are so close to the first team, it's scary. And they're so close to the first team, it's to the point that if we do have an injury, is there really need for panic? Because these 2 talents are... I've heard about Gilly Fernandez for quite some time now. For the past 2-3 years, I've been hearing about him. Tony Fernandez, I've just heard about only last season around February time when he started training under Xavi, and I realized, bloody hell, him and Gilly are cousins, and he's just taken an absolute soar over the past few months. So these 2 cousins are tearing things up in the underlevels of Barcelona, and they're just in touching distance of the first team, and Hansi Flick rates them, trusts them, and he will put them in if needs be. Now, speaking about the first team, we do have some updates on the leadership order in the dressing room. Of course, Lewandowski did play his 100th game for Barcelona this past weekend against Girona. Did a little speech in the locker room as well when Ter Stegen gave him the kit. He's hoping for 100 more. I don't know if he'll get that, but nonetheless, I respect the ambition and motivation. Now, Fabrizio Romano came out saying that Lewandowski is a popular figure in the dressing room. Additionally, he's also very professional. He had no issues with any teammates. He doesn't create any problems with the coaching staff as well. He's a very good relationship with everyone at the club. Now, this after the fact that him and Xavi had beef at the end of last season where Xavi put him on the market, and Lewandowski's really unhappy about that. So maybe this is just, a bit of a Lewandowski PR push, but we all know the ability of Lewandowski. Again, 63 goals, 18 assists in his first 100 games for Barcelona. That is ridiculous. Those are ridiculous numbers. Yes, he had a very, very poor few-month period after the World Cup to the tail end of that 22-23 season. Last season, he kind of had a huge remontada in that second half of the year from January onwards where he was absolutely sensational. And I think he's had a pretty good start to the season as well. Of course, against Girona, missed a lot of chances. I want to say against Vallecano, he missed some chances as well. I know he scored the goal that was later chalked off for that Koundé foul. I think in that game as well, missed some chances. So that comes with the striker. Some you win some, you lose some. Even Suarez had those days. I remember the Valverde's first season, the 17-18 season, where Suarez went like 10 years without scoring. He was missing tap-ins. He was missing open nets. It was so bad. But Valverde said he's world class. Once he gets that first goal, he'll have a flyer. Of course, he got that first goal, and after that, he had a brilliant season. So that's what you get with top class strikers. So the fact that he has that ability and also has the leadership quality in the background as well, no mean feat. I think Rafinha did an interview with Barca 1 mentioning how important Lewandowski is in the dressing room as well, that he's surprised that he got the captain armband, the fourth captain armband ahead of Lewandowski. So it just shows how well he is respected and rated behind the scenes. Now, speaking about the first team, we do have an update on the red card suspension of Ferran Torres that he did receive, of course, against Girona. The rumors are right now from Mundo Deportivo that Ferran Torres will be suspended for 1 game only. In the match preview for Villarreal on Saturday, I will talk about what the actual suspension is. That's when the federation will release it. It's going to be between 1 and 3 games, depending on how they review the tackle, how harsh it is, whatever the case may be. But right now, we are hearing it's a very, very low level red card, so 1 game suspension. So he just missed the Villarreal game this weekend, which again, it's not the end of the world. Hopefully, Ansu Fati will be back by then, so he can kind of replace the Ferran Torres substitution for that game. But again, it does suck to have that rhythm broken, to have the player that we pay a lot of money for not available. Nonetheless, though, that's part of the world of football. But just a 1 game is you know what, we'll take it, better than of course 2 or 3 games. And the final Barcelona update that we do have around the club is in regards to the 3rd kit, which will be coming out today, according to Memorabilia on Twitter. If it does come out today, it'll probably already been released by the time I upload this video, so you can go look at the pictures on all the Barcelona socials, see how it looks. I'm not very happy with this kit. I don't know why the Nike logo is diagonal. I mean, the Spotify logo is of course going to be in the middle, like the other kits that we've seen. It's a very meaty kit. It's not terrible. I'll give it, again, like a 6 out of 10. It might grow on me as the season goes on. Might even get worse as the season goes on. Of course, I'm going to buy it because I put money back in this club like no tomorrow. It is an addiction. It is a problem. But you know what? Love shows no qualms, I guess. But yeah, it's coming out today, so let me know your thoughts on it in the comments down below. Once you see the official images, official, reveal of it, how it actually looks on the players, how the Vapor, player kit looks compared to the fan edition as well. There's always, a big difference there. So it's coming out today. So again, it's taken us almost a first month and a half of the season to finally release all of our kits, but now it's fully done and we can focus on next season's kits now. Now, the next topic that I do want to discuss is around this interview that Andre Bara has done with a specific podcast. Now, if you don't know who Andre Bara is, he is the agent of Dani Olmo. He's agent of other Barcelona players as well, and he's also very close to Joan Laporta. Give us some very, very good insight information about the previous summer transfer window and also the future of the club that I do want to mention. So let's get right into it. Let's not waste any time. He came out saying that media created a lot of noise, but Laporta told me not to worry and that within 15 days, Olmo's registration will be solved, and it really was solved. We had a lot of offers of Dani Olmo, of which 3 or 4 of them were big clubs. I don't want to name the clubs, but Dani Olmo really wanted Barcelona. We had the feeling that Barcelona is perfect for Dani Olmo. I really pushed for the Barcelona move to happen, and Dani also wanted to go back home. Yeah, I don't believe that too much, but it is what it is. I've spoken internally with Barcelona. I'm very close with them. If I remember correctly, they told me that Barcelona will soon regenerate 1.1 billion of income. Barcelona reduce cost expenses. Income is the same. It's going to be even bigger soon. Of course, it's implying the new stadium. Within the next 24 months, their whole situation will be solved, including the new Camp Nou, which generates high income, which they currently don't have, such as VIP boxes, lounges, more sponsors. I think that Barcelona will be able to bring in big players from the summer of 2026. So he's basically saying that, look, in the next year, Barcelona are going to be fully healthy, ready to go. They're already, at that point now, but again, they're being a bit, tedious, a bit cautious with their decisions. But by 2026, they'll be completely normal. Of course, that is supposed to be the year of the election as well. So, well, that's going to be a crazy, crazy summer. Erling Haaland rumors, get your seatbelts ready for that. Half the Spanish national team today is Barcelona. They are European champions. In January or February, they'll be playing again in the new Camp Nou. The new stadium will be amazing based on everything I have seen from images and in person. In the next 1 or 2 years, Barcelona will come back to their old self at the very top. Actually, they keep their best players and strengthen their current squad even more, and Barcelona is looking to be stronger, and that's where Dani Olmo wants to be. The rumors about Deco leaving were total nonsense. I'm not only good friends with Deco, but also very close with Laporta. I'm sure that if Deco leaves, Laporta would also leave as well. That is how close they are. So, I mean, There you go. We don't want to believe the Deco rumors anyways about him leaving. Then he was asked on meCarreira's situation this past summer. He is also the agent of meCarreira, and he said that Manchester United were among the clubs interested in meCarreira, but he didn't like that option too much. He didn't start at Barcelona, so why would he go there and be the same situation that he is at Barcelona at United? His development would have made zero progress there. meCarreira left Barcelona because of the situation with Dani Olmo. He did not want to leave, nor did Barcelona want to sell him. They needed the fair play space, so unfortunately he did end up having to leave. Barcelona initially wanted to sell Inigo Martinez, but he didn't want to leave the club. Woo-wee! Very, very, very interesting. And to be honest, I do believe him. I think this was the situation at the beginning of the summer. The club could have chosen to sell Inigo or meCarreira at the beginning of the summer. They would have chosen Inigo, but with him staying, because he has that extra leverage with his contract, of course. Then, of course, Hansi Flick coming in, seeing everything. Then Hansi saying, look, I think we should keep Inigo ahead of meCarreira. That's where that kind of domino effect started. But I believe in the fact that this was the case at the beginning of the window. But once preseason ended, I think Barcelona's stance did end up changing, and look how Inigo's done so far this season. He's been absolutely sensational, except of course that first game against Valencia. Many clubs were interested in meCarreira, such as Rennes, Inter, Lille, Marseille, Frankfurt. As I say, many clubs. 15 days before Fati went to Rennes, Barcelona did not want to talk about his departure. They thought he could participate with the first team. He spoke with Hansi Flick during the US tour, while Hansi Flick told Fati, don't worry, you will have at least 10 appearances this season, and from next season we will see how it goes. Fati agreed with Flick that we were all happy at Barcelona, but Barcelona wanted Dani Olmo, so they had to sell a few players. I used my player Fati to help Barcelona in that situation and explain to him everything. So he's willing to stay at Barcelona just to get 10 appearances only? Bit weird, bit strange. Like I said to you, I think the situation very much changed from preseason to post preseason. Barcelona wanted a buyback clause in Fati's contract with Rennes. It was the only condition Barcelona would accept. The clause is 30 million euros. Now it all depends on Fati and how he's going to develop. He is from Senegal. He speaks French. He adapts very fast. He is fast, strong, has technique, left-footed. I expect him to be a world-class player in the future, but it all depends on him. Based on the talks with the Rennes, Fati should be in the starting 11 after 1 or 2 months. Again, right now he's still, being integrated, getting used to the, new culture, new style, new team, new everything. But they are expecting him to be a starter post, I would say, the next October international break. But again, the clause there he's saying is a 30 million euro buyback option. So again, we sold him for around 12 to 15. Buyback option is double that, so of course it makes sense in the end. And finally, he was asked on how close Laporta and Deco are. He said that one thing I know is that Barcelona did reject a big offer from Lamine Yamal from PSG, worth somewhere around 250 million euros. I've seen this rumor go around a lot. I think Laporta even mentioned this, I want to say, in that March interview he did with Barca 1 when it initially launched, when Barcelona 1 was like the new demand, on-demand thing for Barcelona. I think he mentioned that as well. So I guess it's true, and to be honest, it's a fair rejection. Of course, he's seen Lamine Yamal now. He has the second most goals and assists in 2024, and he's only one behind Erling Haaland, which is just ridiculous. So, overall, it is what it is. But a very insightful interview about the future of Barcelona, Dani Olmo's integration, and also around the meCarreira situation. So, overall, nothing really of too much surprise. I think the best part that I read here is, of course, how Barcelona will be healthy in the next year or so, and how meCarreira originally wanted to stay at Barcelona. The plan was for him to stay. Then with FFP, things took a turn for a different perspective. Now, the final topic that I want to discuss before I end off this video is another interview to cover, and it is the sporting director, Deco, giving us more updates on the previous summer transfer window and also the future of the club as well. This, for me, was one of the best interviews he's done in kind of his interview tour. This is where he gave some really insightful information. It is quite long. Let's get right into it. He was asked, firstly, on his relationship with the president, Joan Laporta. He said that, look, we respect each other. He was my president when I was a player as well. We have created a friendship. That's why we make jokes like this. I worry about the health too. Friends are there for that. It's just a joke that he made. Again, referring to Laporta being fat. Who's not fat anymore, to be honest. He's put off a few pounds. Shout out to Prezi for that. He then asked on the difficult summer transfer window for Barcelona. He's saying that we've done what we could have done. People want new players every year, but clubs don't have to sign new players every year. They have to organize themselves, renew the players who they have right now, create the basis for the present and future, and that's what we tried to do this past summer. On the very good start of the season, we talked about this moment. We worked very well. The season is very long. We are very happy to start it well, but nothing more than that. Good mentality, that is. He's then asked on Hansi Flick. They are always good coaches at Barcelona. We heard about Xavi's decision. We focused on Hansi Flick. He is someone with the experience, calmness a coach who has, in addition to characters of the ability to manage, because he has experienced many new things. He has been coaching for many years, a bit like on the path that we want to follow as well. And I think that's on the signing of Dani Olmo, and it's very important that we have players that want to come here. If the player wants to come, it is always easier to fight for signing. In Dani's case, it was like that from the day that he showed that he wanted to return to Barcelona, that he was excited to win titles and make history as his club. With this, it was a question of one original agreement between the two clubs, and with the player, everything else was made easier. Again, standard stuff there. Then as on the meeting between him and Nico Williams' agent, saying, look, I met with a lot of players' agents, and number of things that the market is that there's always meetings happening, but I don't say anything about things that are private. Nico Williams is a player of Athletic Club, and Barcelona don't want to comment on anything more than that. He was then asked on how you've worked with the limitations that La Liga have imposed when it comes to registering players. He said, look, they set it for Barcelona and they do it for everyone else. It's a question of all sporting directors. There is a series of regulations that must be followed. Clubs have to apply themselves and do what is best for their institution. Then as on Barcelona's financial situation, like now, can Barcelona go back to the winter transfer market and do stuff? He said, look, I don't know. Now we're thinking about the next match against Girona. Of course, pre the Girona game. Then in due time, we will analyze it and see how the situation is. And as on young players, in the end, the whole history of Barcelona has been made with this mix of players from the academy who are hungry to make history, and the balance must be sought out. He was then asked if Gavi will be basically a new signing this season, how important he will be, and he said that yes, of course, he is the signing of the season. Gavi is a key player for us. It's very hard to lose him last season. We have not been able to find a solution for Gavi. It's very difficult to find a solution for a player like him. We are happy that we have him back after a long recovery. Hard work, and he will do things with us again. Then after Lamine Yamal's contract renewal at this stage, they look, Lamine Yamal has a contract. After that, everything is calm at Barcelona. So again, we'll wait and see. There have been a lot of reports that Lamine Yamal does want an improvement on his contract, which again, he probably does deserve after his fantastic year he's had so far. Then as Robert Lewandowski, he's 36 years old. Are you looking to replace him? Is Haaland an option? He said, look, I'm not talking about players who aren't ours. We're talking about our own players. We're very happy with Robert. He's a world reference. He's one of the best forwards in the history of football, and one of those who have helped Barcelona a lot. He's scoring goals. He's happy with the team, and he's happy at Barcelona. Then as on Victor Roque, saying that, look, in the end, it was a good loan for him. A player who has had a very difficult 6 months. It's not easy for all these young players who arrive at a big club like Barcelona. The idea has always been to give him minutes, and Betis' opportunity is very good to see him play. Then as on Mingueza's return, I don't know what is going on with this Mingueza reports. Is it because he's Spanish from the academy? I don't know what, but 3 good games and all of a sudden Barcelona are twerking for Mingueza. I don't know. He's asked about Mingueza's return, and look, we haven't considered him coming back yet. He's having a good moment right now, and of course we're always looking for good players. Good response to that from Deco. Then asked on the departure of Gundogan, saying the coach has already explained Gundogan's departure. Everything has been said, and we wish him all the best at Man City. Very professional response. That is from Deco. Then asked on La Masia, saying that it is the party that has the essence of the club. The Porto has always said that we want to recover La Masia. It is the foundation of the team. The homegrown players is not always easier. You have to work hard to make this happen, and the club is right now on the right track. Then asked, does Barcelona need to sell players? And he said the idea is that we don't sell. We have tried not to sell in the previous market. We want to keep the good players that we do have. The idea was to strengthen the team, and I hope and I wish I don't have to sell any of our big players. Then asked if any offers came in from Saudi Arabia for Barcelona players this past summer. He said, look, we didn't really want to sell any of our important players that we have. It was very clear which players we had to sell if we do sell, those who could leave, but it was also very clear which ones we weren't going to sell in the summer. So kind of, sat on the fence with that response. Then asked him what role Ansu Fati will have at Barcelona this upcoming season, saying that he is one of our players. We are very happy to have him back. Ansu suffered a lot of injuries in recent years, but he's only 21 years old and has his whole career ahead of him. He has a great chance of being the Ansu that we all know he can be. Ansu we have seen shine at Barcelona, and that is why we're delighted that he is at Barcelona today. Then asked on the future of Frenkie de Jong, and he said this: I don't understand all the noise and talk about Frenkie de Jong. He has a contract with Barcelona, and we are very happy with him. He's a player we are anxious to see come back because we need Frenkie in the future. We want him to stay, but the player will decide at the right time. It's not the matter of now, so to speak. The matter is of Frenkie, that he plays with us again, because we want him and we value him very much. Then asked on the injury of Marc Bernal, and the bad news for him. Firstly, of course, the most important thing is for the player. It's more difficult for us to because he's been doing very well. He's young and he's just starting out now, but it is a shame for the player. And finally, he was asked on the departure of Mark Guiu, saying that Chelsea paid the release clause and he left. He had an old contract with a €6 million release clause. He was offered a bigger contract and an important project here at Barcelona, but he decided to go another way. We tried a lot, but we weren't able to. The player opted for an offer from Chelsea. We offered him a project to be the forward at Barcelona, but he didn't want to in the end. So very insightful interview that from Deco, and again gives a lot of important details on the previous summer transfer window and also for the future of the first team ahead. So that was my reaction to the Barcelona news over the past few days. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, of course, make sure you drop a like down below, and of course in the comments down below as well, let me know your thoughts on everything we did discuss. The main thing firstly, of course, is your thoughts on Nico Williams. Would you take him next summer for the same price as he was last summer? Second, your thoughts on the search for a pivot. Would you bet in-house? Would you go into the market? Third, your thoughts on all these injuries, concerns that we have been suffering. And finally, your thoughts on those two interviews that I mentioned from the agent Andy Bara and also from Deco as well. And of course, make sure you guys subscribe down below if you haven't already. And I will see you guys next time on the channel. Take care and Forza Barça.